Thank you, Mr. President. It's good that we have one part of the budget that we've started today, the debt service. That's kind of probably the easiest part of the budget. And I think most of my constituents by this time know, because over the years we've had a lot of late budgets going on. This is a constitutional mandate. Probably the most important thing we do here is put a good, balanced, on-time budget for our constituents, which keeps them here and incentivizes people to come to New York State. And April 1st is the deadline. I have to tell you, nobody in my district, or I think you'd say this too to a great extent, goes to work, sits there, has their bosses give them a deadline to complete a project, and says to them, I'm definitely not going to complete that project by the deadline you've given me, and expects to come back and get paid the next day, or actually show up because they still have a job. Now, over the years, and I think I've been here a while, in fact, longer than anybody's been in this room, and historically, the media and all of our constituents have been trying to figure out who's in charge of delaying and making us have late budgets. Sometimes school districts say we have to go out and borrow because we have school budgets coming up and everything. Who's responsible for the most important constitutional duty we have to put forth? A good, balanced budget in a timely fashion, which protects our constituency. And over the years, Democrats have blamed Republicans. Republicans have blamed Democrats. I can tell you this. Our side of the aisle, in our conference, we happen to be Republicans, never controlled all levers of power for the number of years I have been here or you have been here. Never. Now, you could say we controlled a Republican Senate, but at that time, you've either got a totally Democratic Assembly, and we had George Pataki here one day. But we never had all levers of power. Who is responsible for this budget heading towards, and as defined by our leader in finance, we're going to be late? Wait a second. It's not April 1st yet. When my people are working, they say to the boss, I'm going to be late. What do you tell me you're going to be late? You got time left to go. You control all levers of power. You control the Senate, one vote shy of a supermajority. Supermajority in the Assembly. The governor's your affiliation. You couldn't do a balanced, on-time, good budget for your constituents in the timely fashion. You had a whole year. Don't be pointing towards this side of the aisle because you're late with the most important job you're expected to do constitutionally. You know, my dad said to me, most important lesson, he worked in the foundry for 30 years. Most important lesson he gave to me is 90% of success is just showing up and getting the job done when you do. You can't cut and run. You got to show up and do the job your constituents elected you to do. There's only one finger being pointed towards this lateness. You couldn't get the job done. The media knows it now. Your constituents know it now. We know who are in charge of late budgets. The leader has said it now, of finance. It's going to be late. We're shocked. It's going to be late. Well, there's nobody to point towards for not doing your job. How about those conference committees? Aren't they great? I had one. We got a great leader. I love my leader in conference committee. She's on your side of the aisle. Love working with her. I was a teacher at one time. I say that a lot. Senator Lou likes to hear me say that. $39 billion, one of the largest parts of the budget. One meeting. They said, hurry up, don't say too much in this one. The purpose of conference committees was to engage elected officials, senators and assembly people, to help the governor move forward, whoever was in place, with a balanced budget. Your constituents don't deserve us standing up here a week before the deadline and saying, we can't do it. You're in charge of everything, but you can't do it. Well, now the media knows who can't do it. You control it all. Nobody on this side of the aisle stopped this budget from being on time. Nobody on this side said we're only going to have one conference committee. I don't know what the other committees, maybe you had 2, 3. If you really want to engage yourself, you wouldn't have one meeting. You wouldn't stifle discussion at that one meeting. You would work earlier on time because you control and can do it. I'll be honest, we can't do it. We got a lot of good ideas to keep people in New York. Maybe this is the reason why we're #1 in out-migration. And I talk about that a lot. If there was ever an indictment on the failure of policies and agendas in late budgets, it's people walking out of the state and voting with their feet. Now, I want the viewers to know, this body, the Assembly, one party, one affiliation. We were in the majority one time here, but we weren't in control of all levers of power, and there was a difference of agendas and policies. Well, probably difference with you, but you got to settle it because you control all levers, and they deserve it when you told them won't be any more late budgets when we're in charge in all 3 houses, because that darn majority in the Senate, those Republicans are holding up this thing. Well, that darn majority isn't here anymore, and you didn't get the most important thing you're elected to do done in a timely fashion, according to what has been said. So I suggest this. You don't want the staff to go home? We shouldn't go home. You should stay here in Albany. Stay here in Albany, because a lot of my constituents work overtime. You know, I remember my dad, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, he'd come in, or they'd call him 4, 5, 3 o'clock in the morning. Going to GE, there was an explosion, worked in one of the most difficult conditions you could ever think of. He succumbed to stomach cancer. You know why? Because he sucked up red-hot molten steel, asbestos, no OSHA regulations, died of stomach cancer. And you talked about that the other day. And that was a good bill. I supported that bill. Even now, we don't have enough regulations in that. I don't know what the regulations here. It's not red-hot smokes and steel and asbestos in here. It's sunlight. You've had sunlight for over a year to get yourself in place to pass a good, on-time, balanced budget, which your constituents deserve. So the media knows now, the constituents know now, you control it all, baby. Control it all. So don't cut and run. Stay here and get the job done. Thank you, Mr. President.